Yeah, look at that. Check that out. That is my guest today, Jackie. I hope you guys are ready. And obviously, this thing is saying, yeah, LinkedIn has have issues. When do I not have issues with LinkedIn? It's always all the time. So if you guys are on LinkedIn, you're not able to see us, hop on to our YouTube or Facebook channel. See you soon.
I'm on my own, broken and alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost.
Join us in the heart of personal transformation with Level Up Circle TV, your exclusive gateway to unlocking your inner potential and achieving extraordinary results. This TV show is your secret weapon for personal and professional development, packed with valuable insights, expert advice, and real life success stories. Are you ready to take the leap and transform your life? Don't just watch, participate. Tune in, take notes, and then take action. The journey to your greatest self starts here. So, get inspired, get motivated, and get ready to level up. Join us and let's embark on this transformative adventure together. Click that remote and let's start making your dreams a reality.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.
Hi guys, welcome to Thursday. So I just got a notice that says LinkedIn is having an issue. No kidding. I couldn't even I went to two lives this morning while I was doing my makeup and I couldn't even jump into Russ's live this morning at 8. So Russ, I was there, bro. I just couldn't comment until after the fact. So giving you love. Just saying, okay? I'm just saying. Anyhow, today I have a special guest. But before that, I wanted to talk about what is happening and what are some of the things that you guys can do now that we are ending our year. Most of us will do, oh, we're going to do manifestation January 1st. I did that. I'm like, I'm going to start my regimen again to go back to the gym January 1st. And I told my daughter, we got to start now. Why wait until January 1st when you can do something today? Because that mentality needs to shift. Because we always put things off, and sometimes it's always too late than we realize, right? So I highly suggest whatever you're planning to do next year, plan now and start doing now. Don't wait 3 weeks from now. What's the difference? Your tomorrow is not guaranteed. Do it now. You want to jump off a bridge and bungee jump? Yeah, do it now, right? You want to jump off a plane? Do it now. Don't wait till next year. Do it now, right? And towards the end of December, no one wants to work anymore. So guess what? Do it now. I'm just saying. Also, I'm so excited. Yesterday, I got my book anthology with my sisters and brothers. Look, how many of us. And I'm so glad that I didn't cut off anyone's name. I'll keep that in mind next year when I we'll do another cover. Nick designed this book, and then I just made a design to put the names in the back here, and she did a beautiful job designing that book. And I want to make sure that I cut off names. So yeah, he did good. Look at that. If you guys haven't had your copy, buy them on Amazon. Okay. This is my third anthology for this year. And I'm so proud of the people who are leaving legacies here on this book. Okay. And it was so amazing to see that we wrote it for different people and different purpose. But at the end of the day, we had differences, but we also had huge similarities. So yes, take it to Amazon. Announcement today, if you go to luabyduckleland.com or if you're on my LinkedIn, under author's book or anthology, I have an anthology coming up. It's going to be starting February, and we're going to put it in Amazon by mid-March. We're very quick in our anthology. We have a great team, Susanna Dawn, and of course, our dear sister Nick and our dear sister Christine. That's my team to do publishing. So we do a lot of publishing. Also, today is a TV show. It's not just on LinkedIn. And by the way, thank you, amazing support on YouTube. We are now hitting 11,000 plus subscribers on YouTube. I'm like, what? Guys, from the bottom of my heart, oh my God. Okay, so give me a topic more, because now that I did this, because I thought, oh, 10,000 is going to be next year, March or February, I'm going to hit 10,000 subscribers. Keep in mind that April of this year, 2023, I had 36 subscribers and I barely make it. And my husband's like, who's watching? 36 subscribers. I'm like, listen, at least there's somebody watching, okay? And then now we're at 11,000 before the end of the year. So I'm asking you, I'm manifesting it. We're going to double that down to 20,000 by 2024. Maybe we'll have more, but at least that's my realistic goal. Another thing is I have a project for our brother Ollie. I want you guys to end your year with gratefulness. So I'm asking you to send me a video. There is no fee, nothing. On the 28th, which is a Thursday, 2 weeks from now, instead of having a guest on my show for the TV show, by the way, this TV show, other than YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, which apparently is not going on right now, it's going to Amazon Fire Roku channel. So you'll be able to see if you're commenting here on our TV show. But I want to ask you to give me 60 seconds of video. And the question is, what are you grateful for? Not who, but what are you grateful for? And then just submit the 60 seconds video to projects@levelupbyduckleland.com. Projects@levelupbyduckleland.com. What I'm trying to do is provide positive mindset before we end this new year. A lot of us lost loved ones. A lot of us are going through financial hardship. A lot of us are going through depression. Mental wellness is super important, guys. Without this capacity right here, nothing works within us. Doesn't matter how healthy you look, how pretty you have, how much money you have in your bank account. That crap doesn't matter. Right here, mental capacity. So what I'm trying to do is start us from here by being grateful. When you're thinking about what positive things that are happening in your life, you'll attract positive things and positive people. When you focus on what I don't have, what I'm going through, everyone goes through adversity, but instead of focusing on the problem, provide a solution. To start with that is to start right here. What are you grateful for? The fact that you're breathing, you should be grateful for that. I'm just saying, right? The fact that you have roof over your head, for some of us, I do have some students who are homeless. I'm sending you love. I'm sending you good juju. But remember, you are in control of your life. All the things that you are not in control that happen to you that are bad makes you who you are. I need you to get up. Do not just end there on your journey. Choose life. Choose to get up. Ask for help. Don't be prideful. Our circle is stronger than you think. You just got to get up and try your best. But you have to be grateful for something. Not who, but what. And also, try to be nice to yourself. I know I have to tell you that because I'm not nice to myself sometimes. So I'm reminding you to be nice to yourself. If I do it, I know you're doing it. So be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself, and always help other people that you can. Not just through financial, even just through talking. Okay? And Susanna Dawn has a class this Saturday for Authors Authority. That means if you are an author, or if you are in a co author, or if you're thinking to be an author somewhere in the back of your mind, okay, you don't know what to do, how to start, how do you create an author's page, this class is for you. It's actually, she has a bundle and you have to take that because next year it might go up. And she's going to be teaching in my anthology for that in February. So the more information in there, it's already available. I created a video for you. I've created how much it is so you could save up between now and February 1st. And I will teach you writing and tools in there to help you in your journey, right? Because 100 years from now, no one will remember us. We'll just be dust in the wind, right? And so by having our own legacy, our own story, not only here on YouTube, but also in book form, you will leave that legacy for your great, great, great family, right? All right, I am done. Thank you guys so much. And if you guys need, I might be teaching a StreamYard class for free next year because I want you guys to show up for yourself and I'm going to give you tools. I'm also going to double up my TV show next year because I'm going to provide classes that I would be teaching in universities for free for you. And it will be just 30 minutes. We're going to talk about specific topics so you can learn and level up yourself. And then we will go from there. Are you guys ready? Let me see if my guest, my beautiful, amazing guest. Are you ready? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready, Jackie. Yeah. Welcome. How are you?
I am so great. I loved your intro.
Yes, thank you so much. I try to be positive at all times, and I do have a lot of projects, but this one is near and dear to my heart. When your brother reached out to you and said, "Hey, I'm in depression mode. I seem to not get up, and I'm having a hard time," I couldn't just sit there and just like, "Yeah, you'll be fine," right? I think when you rally on to give positive energy to someone that you know who needs it, I'm hoping that it will help him kind of get there and get up. And gratefulness project is always something I've done for all of my people to lift their spirit up, right?
And we all need it. We all need it.
Yes, we do.
Doing
We
this
do.
for Ollie is going to help all of us too. Love it.
Yes. So, dear sister, can you introduce to us who you are and what you do?
Oh, so much to talk about. My name is Jackie Hallberg. I am in Michigan in the United States, and I do a lot of stuff. My day job is all about working with crime and conflict and trying to help people who not have crime happen to you. And if it does, how can you work through that? And if you've been the person that committed the crime, how can you learn so you never do that again? And if you're having conflict with people, how can you reach out to somebody that's a mediator, somebody that's not vested emotionally in your situation to do things that are just a little easier? And so you can communicate and build on the talking, listening instead of just being right or yelling at the person. So my days are kind of tough. I'm not going to lie. They can be really tough. So I started a side business called Tripping with Jax, which is all about traveling and helping women travel safer. So that's one of my passion projects. And then today, live on your show, I am announcing my second passion project. Are you ready for it? Okay. So for the past 10 to 20 years, depending on which program you're talking about, I have worked in the world of victimization, criminal actions, restorative justice, and reentry. That means when you're leaving a detention facility, a jail, a prison, how can you have the tools and support and not have family and community dynamics that make you not feel welcome when you come back and possibly turn towards a life back to crime? I've been doing that so strong and hard in my community, and we do a really good job. There's still a lot of work to do, but I want to bring that national. I am ready to open up my time, my energy to any jail, detention facility, or prison system out there in the entire United States. I will work with residents of the facilities. I will work with staff. I will work with the community. I will work with your national teams. My new business, are you ready to hear it? It's called Home, HOME, Reentry Services. And home means a whole bunch of things. It means something different to me. Means something different to all of you. It means something different to somebody that's incarcerated. And it means something different to the people that are waiting for that incarcerated person to get back, or they're hoping that incarcerated person never comes back. And my whole focus is to make sure that home is how you make it. And so I am going to be offering these services all over the United States. And I can't wait to see other communities that have such intense recidivism rates. That means people are still committing crimes. I want to see those lowered. I don't want to see people locked away for years and years that affect so many people other than just the person that's incarcerated, their babies, their families, their grandmas, their aunts. It's a real major community issue. And I want my voice out there. I do good work. I'm ready for it. I've been in and out of many prisons doing programmings over the year. Why can't I do it outside of my own community?
That's amazing. So we see the outcome. Now I want to see the messy side of Jackie. Why the heck are you doing this? What
Mm.
actually inspired you to do this?
Oh, so a couple things. So I am a social worker by background. And when I was in my internship for my MSW, I thought I only wanted to work with little kids because kids are fun and they're not so scary, right? And halfway, well, actually about a month into my internship, my supervisor came to me and said, guess what? We're going to start working with those that commit crimes and the victims of the crimes. And do you want to be a part of that? And I'm saying, yeah. I was a victim of crime a couple times when I was in high school. I have been very fortunate that through the years that hasn't came back to me, but I really was impacted greatly in high school by some of these crimes. And the fact that I never used my voice to help repair the damage that happened to me, that I didn't get a chance to confront the person, that I didn't get a chance to realize that my value and worth was not tied up into what that person or those people did to me and to my family. So it's almost like it's coming back full circle. So instead of just being bitter and angry that crime happens, I want to be part of the solution. I want to level up other people to realize every single human is one decision away from having a criminal record or possibly going to jail or prison themselves. No matter how awesome you think you are, no matter how rich you are, no matter what community you're in, what kind of job you have, if you make a decision that could land you in jail or prison, it could change your entire world and everybody's around you. I don't want people going to jail and prison anymore. There's too many beautiful, wonderful, creative humans that are locked behind bars that should be out doing amazing things in our community to make it safer and happier and healthier for everybody.
Well, have you done research um, in terms of okay, certain cities have higher crime rate
Yes.
than other cities, right? And I don't know if you've been to LA, but like Beverly Hills is here, 10, 15 minutes, maybe less. Compton, like drive by every night, all day, right? So I love that your passion is to help others, which I think you're doing before and during, meaning like before they commit the crime, you kind of talk to the communities and said, what can we do to actually prevent the crime? Once the
Absolutely.
crime happens and you're already in here, what can we do to rehabilitate your mindset and your behavior so you don't repeat the same thing that got you in the first place, right? I'm
Mhm.
seeing that's what you're doing.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, what have you seen from your job between before and during that helps them realize their potential? Because sometimes when you're in that environment, like my parents growing up, I never realized until I had my own kids, you can't hang out with this person with this clothes and that clothes and the way they talk and the list, right? Asian family is like super strict, and I'm like, why? I like them. And my mom's like, nope. That and I didn't get it until now. Like, you are your environment, because it's not that you're a bad person, but when you're in the group, peer pressure is real.
Yes.
Okay. And then you are also trying to please to be belong to the group,
Mm,
right?
yep.
That belongingness is very strong because that's our innate human needs that needs to be fulfilled. So how do you talk to people before the crime happens and say, don't do the crime?
Yeah, yeah. So you were so right with what you just said. Humans want to be acknowledged, they want to be cared for, they want to be accepted, they want to be wanted. It's that simple. And unfortunately, we do have areas of every single town, state, country, even that have pockets where not all the resources are available before somebody gets into the system. We have areas that have high poverty. They don't have the community resources. Workers are afraid to go into certain neighborhoods because they're like, oh, why would I help people that I don't live by or something? That kind of stuff has to stop. We have to say it does not matter what your zip code is, what your neighborhood looks like, what kind of demographics are in there. How can you have the exact same opportunities for the quality education, the support, the counseling, knowing that your bellies are going to have food at night, knowing there's going to be a roof over your head. If you, just because you were born into a certain family or community or neighborhood, you should not have those basic needs met just because of where you're living at. That's the first and foremost. If that could be across the board, the crimes we would see from like kids testing things out and just kind of being a little naughty, those would be so minor. And we could get to some of that. Oh, don't hang out with those people. But it needs to start earlier, and people have to know that they are safe and they're cared for and that there's hope. So I live in a much smaller city than LA or Beverly Hills. It's much smaller, but we have a pocket of neighborhoods that see more crime every single week than most humans see in a full year or two. That's not okay. That is not okay. Those babies growing up in that neighborhood, sometimes it becomes normal, or sometimes they are so nervous and they are so scared this is going to happen to them. Their brain is so focused on that fight or flight, that trauma response, the, oh, what do I do? That they don't realize that they can travel, they can be educated, they can go visit other people. They don't have to be treated like this or get involved in situations that could get them into a spot where they become somebody that's making decisions that get them involved in crime. So that's a super long answer to that question about what do you see before we have to be good humans back to humans. It's that simple. It's that simple.
So simple, yet it's happening everywhere, right? Like even the war. I don't do politics or religion, okay? But it just breaks my heart that only the elite can make a decision for the rest of the group. Like literally, if our government decided we're going to go to war with China today, we do not have a choice.
No.
They engage and we are just on for the count, right?
Yeah.
And our lives are affected by that. So that is the bigger geopolitical savvy thoughts out there, right? Like but to make it simple and then bring down to our community, I feel like some communities are set up to fail. They
Without a doubt.
don't, right? I feel like that's what's happening. And people are like, well, they should have just get up. How do you get up when you have no food on your table, no roof over your head, everybody around you steals or do whatever, right? And that's all you know. How are you supposed to, and how are you, oh, just get out of your city. Hello? Didn't you
Yeah.
just hear me? I don't even have food over my table.
Exactly. And then when you think of all the racism and you see all that political things where, oh, you don't know how to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. No, I have no boots to pull up. I don't even have tennis shoes or flip-flops today. Come on. Come on. And you're right. It is in pockets of certain cities, but it is not just in certain pockets. I work with people that have committed crimes that are from very affluent neighborhoods and that have everything handed to them if they want it, and they've decided that they want more or they want a different dynamic. So there's a whole lot of differences on why people commit crimes to begin with. But if we could get to the basic needs being met and letting humans be treated like human, we would knock off so much of the incarceration. We would knock off so many of the issues that are facing our country. I mean, come on. The United States, we incarcerate, I think, what is it, millions and millions of people each year. Well, are behind bars. Why? Why? There's a lot more to it than just, oh, there's naughty people out there. There's people making decisions that are criminal. You know, there's so much more that goes into that focus. And unfortunately, if you look at those statistics, it is a lot of people that go to prison from the same communities, or they go to jail from the same communities. But that's not just where the crime is happening. So why is that imbalance there? How can we get it? How can we get to them before they get incarcerated? And then once they get out, how can they have the tools before they ever get released to come back to those same communities? 95% of people that go to jail or prison are coming back to that same community that they committed their crime in. And if that community does not look any better, if that community is not welcoming to them, they don't provide the resources, how would they not go back to that lifestyle? Because that's what their brain knows. That's their normal. That's a survival mode. So we have to do better. We have to give the resources to those communities that need them, but also that we got to teach them that they deserve to be back in that community. Just because you have this record, just because you did that, it doesn't mean you don't deserve to use these resources or have people treat you fairly. Because again, humans want to be wanted. And if you come back and you're like, I did my time, I've learned, I even maybe went to some college classes or got my GED, I'm ready to make great decisions. And the community's like, no, we're not even going to let you rent an apartment. Nope, we're not going to let you buy a car because you've been out of the community for a while. You probably have no credit history. And if you have that felony on your name, boom, they
Can't get
want
a job.
to. Yep. Can't get a job. How can you feed your family if you don't have a job?
Hmm. Hmm. I was talking to one of my dear sister yesterday. I think it was Susanna or maybe Danielle, one of them. And I said, if I go to prison, there's going to be a lot of educated prisoners. I'll be teaching in prison. Let me just tell you,
Absolutely.
like, homework today, guys. Let's go. Like that would be me. I would be teaching in prison. You'll have your college degree by the time you're out, for sure. It might not be accredited, but you will definitely learn something. Oh my gosh, I was laughing so bad yesterday. I have a question. What are some of the most effective rehabilitation programs currently being implemented in prisons that you know of that you can
Ooh,
talk about, right? And
yeah,
how do they impact the long term outcomes for inmates after they come out, like
yeah.
after the release?
So one of the things you just said is education. So to me, education is not just a high school diploma, GED, college education. It is learning a skill that you can actually monetize when you get out of jail or prison. It's learning something that you're passionate about. So, some people back in the day, the jail jobs were, or the prison jobs were so few. I mean, they were the grunt work. They were not things that people are probably saying, I want to do this when I get out of prison. This is going to be my life career. Now there are actually prisons out there that not only are offering different education opportunities, but they are offering life skill type of careers, hands-on. I know culinary skills that are being in multiple prisons. I know that there's a lot of different things with like gardening and different growing things. Those are like life skills that people can actually go out and they're like, yes, I want a job. Yes, I want to open up my own restaurant. I want to be a line cook. I want to open a food truck. That's where we're going to see it because it all starts with hope. If you think when you get back out, it's going to be the same old, you're just going to have to do this kind of job that does not get you all excited and passionate. People are just going to judge you when you get out. If you have no hope, why would any program or education opportunity really thrive in a prison system? So finding out what's individually unique and exciting to each person that is in a jail or prison can actually make the difference on whether they're going to be successful. Now, that is not the only thing. There's a lot more involved. Because again, if you get out and you have no roof over your head, or you're sent to a mission that might have people that are doing the same things that you used to do, or they're under a lot of substance control right now, it's going to be hard to be successful. So you have to be more prepared and you have to understand what could trigger you to get back to that world. So any program in prison that is doing quality, and this is the tough one. I talk to a lot of people that have been in prison or some that are even currently in prison that say the healthcare and mental health care is basically non-existent. We are working with people that have had so much trauma. We are working with so many people that had some kind of hold from a substance that they go to prison, and just because they're maybe not getting in trouble in prison, it's a controlled environment. But when they get released, are they going to have that support? Has their medical body, their physical body declined while they were in? Has their mental health, even if they're able to tolerate prison without mental health medication or therapy, are they going to be as successful when they get back outside? So if we could invest in our prison systems to really take control of honoring the humans that are housed there, their mental health and physical health, that will take away a lot of that, not just the stigma, but all those barriers that they have. And it can really help in terms of whether or not they're going to go back to a substance using lifestyle when they get released, because that is one of the huge triggers. And you can want to make every decision in the world, but if you have to self medicate because you're not getting the mental health medication and support you need, or if you don't know anything else on how to cope with life, then being under the influence, you're probably going to go back there. And if we have hope, if we have ideas, that doesn't have to be the lifestyle going forward.
I was just thinking, and my brain was percolating some thoughts. And I have ADHD, so it's like, ooh, I could do this. I'm like, focus, CJ. Um, there was just so many things, and I'm glad that you did education, because in my process right now, we're trying to find out why it took this long for me to be diagnosed with ADHD. That could actually, I could have been helped on a lot of things. And I think a lot of people just kind of ignore, and we tend to ignore the people who are doing well, and or we perceive that they're doing well, so we ignore them, and then we help people who are struggling, right? And so we tend to create people who are staying in the victim role and the victim mentality because we want to help them. And then people who loves that attention anyway will stay in the victim role and the victim mentality as long as they can, so they get that attention. Now, that is more, to me, that's more of like an emotional distress, like asking
Mhm.
for help sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And people who took drugs, like, okay, I had this student, and it was an emotional conversation on my podcast back in the days, like last year, really back in the days last year. Um, she was definitely drug using, and she was homeless for a bit. And on her last time that she took in, she was about to take, I don't know if it was heroin or something, and her sister came in and said, "Hey, before you go delirious on me, what do you want me to tell your kid? Because today might be the day you die."
Mm.
She's been using for a long time. She thought for a minute, and she's like, "I don't want my kid to not know me." And so that stopped her, right? She got herself, and she was in my master's program for IT, which was really amazing. And so I kind of picked her brain a little bit, and I said, no judgment at all, but I want to understand. So excuse me if I ask stupid questions, because I have no idea, right? But I really do want to understand, and my intention is to better help people within that situation. And you, because you're in that situation, could help others talk about it, right? And so I was just thinking, when you were talking about that, about the help that we need, because one person is great, a starter, but imagine if multiple hundreds of people want to do the same thing for others, right?
Absolutely.
So, what can we do to help others do that? Because it's easier said than done. I'm thinking, imagine if they did tell their story and their needs, right? Like, this is my story, one person. But if you ask them, what do you need to get you out of this situation? Because it always starts with one person,
Yep.
right? So if you ask that one person, what do you need to get out of this situation? What are some of the most answers, common answers that you get?
So a lot depends on how many times they've already been asked that question or have asked for help themselves and gotten shot down. So we have to make sure that the people asking those questions, the people offering support, are legit. They actually truly care. So when you were talking about, oh, if I went to prison today, I'd go and I'd educate everybody, they'd get a degree. That didn't make me as excited hearing they'd get a degree as it made me excited to hear you say you weren't scared and terrified and you were going to get them all together, because we have to care about humans. And if you didn't care about humans, you'd be like hiding in your little prison cell and not wanting to talk to anybody. So that makes me even more happy, because that's where the change happens. So if we say, hey, I want to help you, I want to help you, but that individual isn't ready to be helped, it's because their brain is used to the lifestyle that they've had. Now, it may look totally different on what I think would be a good lifestyle or a healthy lifestyle for me, but their brain thinks it's kind of normal. So they have to feel safe with somebody. They're not going to probably ever give you a real answer on what they need to get better or to be safe if they don't feel safe and supported. Again, it's that human connection need. And so we need to make sure that people are working in these positions that truly care. They're not just there to try to make a paycheck, or they're just not there because they think it makes their life better if they're helping people that are in a worse situation than they are. So we really have to make sure that that is number one. Number two, some of the things that I do here, because I've been very fortunate to have people confide in me, housing is number one. So some people get sent back after jail or prison to the exact same household that caused them to have stress. It maybe gave them trauma. It maybe were trigger. Maybe the people living in that house wanting them to commit the crimes or wanted them to be involved in substance use, because then they would do certain things that they wouldn't if they weren't under the influence. So the housing, not just having the roof over your head, but making sure it's a safe location with safe other humans, is without a doubt the number one thing. Now, years and years ago, well, maybe 5 to 10 years ago, maybe sometimes today, if you talk to the same people, it's, oh, they just need a job. Get them a job. Get them a job. And it's like, do they even want a job? Do you realize that when you get out of jail or prison, your entire senses change? You know, your response to people, your response to, wow, that building was never there 5 years ago when I was out. This building went away. Some of my family died. Maybe my partner moved away or divorced me. So there's a lot of stuff going on for that first little bit after incarceration. And so many people, the courts are saying, you have to be hired within 48 hours. You have to have a job. I want to see you having a job by next week. And it's like, what the heck is a job? Yeah, I need a job, but I also need to know my body and brain is safe. And so having a little bit of an opportunity to know that somebody cares enough about you, that you are in a safe location, is probably tops of the list of whether somebody is going to truly trust you and truly be successful right away. Some of the recidivism rates would blow your mind. The United States has one of the highest recidivism rates ever. You know, within the first year, it's usually about 44% of people will be back in jail or prison or committing another crime. Within 5 years, it's up to about 70%, depending on which data you look at. That's not okay. That's not okay.
That means we gotta catch them and that as soon as they get out, we gotta catch them and that, right? To not to do the repeat because it's a behavioral thing.
It needs to be before they get out. And that's why I want to go into these facilities and work with the staff. It has to be before you get out. Within 24 hours of being released, if you don't have food in your belly, a roof over your head, and somebody being nice to you, why wouldn't you go commit another crime? Because that's a normal response. If you don't have food in your belly, you don't know anybody cares about you, you're worried your probation or parole officer is going to send you back to jail or prison, why wouldn't you? So if you don't have this plan, a reentry plan, a safety plan, a support network plan before you even get released, we're not going to see that success. So yes, we need to walk alongside everybody when they get out, but it needs to start inside. And some prisons are rock star. They are doing some amazing things, but it needs to start much earlier, and it needs to be really relationship focused. It needs to be not just one size fits all. Just because you're all going home, this is what you got to do. No, you might have been incarcerated for 10 years where this person was only incarcerated for 2 years. There might be different dynamics. There might
Yeah.
be different dynamics if you were incarcerated because of this kind of crime versus this, or if you're going back to a family that is excited to have you back versus a family that is not happy to have you back. So that planning really needs to start inside the facilities.
My brain's working back and forth right now. Dr. Dreyer was on my show yesterday, and he is a U.S. veteran, right? So he does financial planning right now. So he's actually asking you, how can I bring financial education to this population through the work you are doing? So
Yes.
that could be something that you guys can really talk about. I do have another question here, which is, in what ways can the involvement of mental health professionals, right, in prison system improve outcomes for inmates, like particularly those that have underlying mental
Yeah.
um, health issues?
So, two things. One thing is definitely in the control of the mental health provider. And again, I am a social worker by background, so I do understand a lot of that. One thing is, number one, not promising anything, because there is so much bureaucracy in a prison system. So if you say, absolutely, you have depression and this medication is going to help you, that medication may not be available at that prison, or you may not be able to stay in the same prison because they won't let you have medication in certain prisons. So don't be promising anybody that you work with. Be a listening ear. Remind them that therapy inside of a prison or jail is a little different than if you're out in the community, because there are different things that are not going to be confidential. And as a helping professional, we want to help people and we want to let them know they're safe. Unfortunately, that's not always going to be the case in certain facilities. So not promising is huge, but also advocating. So advocating for their mental health needs, going up the ladder to the medical facility, to any kind of supervisors there are, to the warden if you need to the bigger board that manages the prison systems in that state. Finding out how can you advocate for mental health awareness, true therapy through medical interventions if that's what's needed. That's key, absolutely. But then I've got to do a huge shout out to those that are in the administration of prisons. If you let a social worker, a mental health professional do their work, that's amazing right there. That's a huge gold star right there. Just please don't be pulling their file to use that stuff against your people that are residing in your prison or your jail. That is number one. It's going to shame the entire mental health professionals, the whole career we work so hard to do to help other people. If you're pulling their stuff and you're using it against them for parole boards, you're using it against them for early release or anything like that, it's a disservice not just to that one person, but the entire mental health profession.
Well, Melissa, hi, Sister Melissa. Thank you for coming. So I know her background is on background check. Her background is on background check. And she's right. We talked about this earlier about not having credit built up, and you need to pass a background check for apartments and renting. So if someone can hire you, I feel like that's really set up wrong, right? Because how are you supposed to do that? You were gone for a long time, and then they're trying to hire you. You're like, oh, you committed this crime, so oh, you're not gonna get a job. So now you can't get an apartment. You can't get a job anyway in the first place.
Yep.
What are some of the things that our government is doing now to make sure that the people who paid their crime already when they get out, they can get a job and they're set up for success so that they don't repeat this behavior?
Yep. So there are, like I said, there are some prison systems, there are some communities that are truly focused on reentry and they want to give skills. Part of those skills have to be on that financial literacy. It is about building up your credit, because you're so right, setting up to fail. Think about who actually decided one day in the United States that your identity had to be connected to your credit score. Probably people that had really good credit scores, right? Probably not people that were facing, how am I going to feed my babies tonight? And how am I going to have enough gas in the car tomorrow to try to go to an interview? So we have to give more opportunities. We have to start young. I would say those financial literacy classes and learning about credit and learning about different ways to save and to really think about what could happen down the road. It needs to start in like little grade school. It's, if it hasn't happened that's went through a whole bunch of different processes to get the approval to go in there. But now there is some video programming, so that's an opportunity. And then partnering with agencies that already have the opportunities to go into jails or prison, or they're going to be working with those humans after they get released, is really one of the number one ways to just say, let's talk about this, instead of saying, hey, I'm never going to get a loan, so I need to go steal this, or I'm going to have to go sell this so I can get this. How can you work with somebody that does want to have some opportunities there? I would love to see some credit unions and some banks out there just for people that have criminal records to say, we trust you enough. We know we want to build up your credit. Come to us. Come to us. But it's so tricky. There's so much red tape. And it's almost like, why would you even try to fill out an application when you know they're going to treat you so disrespectfully during that? So yeah, anybody that wants to teach financial literacy, talk to me. Maybe I can connect you in some of the different systems that I'm working at, because it could make a big difference.
Dr. Dryer, you got homework. Homework.
I love it.
Because that's how we do it. We have to make sure. And now I'm thinking about, because I was actually talking, I'm putting up my team together right now for Level Up Academy. I want to have Level Up Academy all over the world, because I want education to be affordable. It shouldn't have to be the elites. And it is most people were like, well, we don't need any more formal education. There's informal education. YouTube University exists, and also informal education, right? So both
Yeah.
of those, and I do both. I like the technical aspect because I think you need to have that. And my experience as a stay-at-home mom for 10 years was horrible to find a job. I felt like I was in that same category. I granted I didn't go to prison, but I felt like I was in prison for 10 years and I couldn't get a job. Mind you, I had a doctorate degree. I had a doctorate degree and I couldn't find a job. Um, and I had to figure out myself how to actually switch my profile. A bunch of texts literally tell you, oh, I can do this job, right? It was horrible. And so I want to educate women who are either transitioning or a stay-at-home mom who wants to go back to their career because now that their kids are at that age to move forward. So I've done it. So I want them to have that skills. And that's why I work so hard to elevate my platform so I can use it so we can actually send more messages out there for people and not like paid advertisements that you have to talk about this because you're paid for it. You know what I mean? We want to talk about it because it makes sense for our community.
Yeah.
And it's not just here in the
It
US.
works.
I'm sure there's a lot of prison systems that are horrible. In fact, in Japan, a couple years back, the grandmothers who are not taking care of our homeless in Japan, they would go to like 7-Eleven and steal purposely so they can get sent to prison so they have food over their head, food over their belly, roof over their head, and they're not lonely. That's
Mhm.
horrible.
It is horrible. That should not be a way of life. And I appreciate you so much just saying that lonely word. Again, humans need to be needed. And if you are, a lot of prisons, they still call the people that are living in the prisons by the number. They don't take that identity. They're not a human. When you're lonely, different parts of your brain, you know this way more than me, different parts of your brain do not get stimulated. Different parts of your brain start to stop connecting into really realizing that there's hope and there's ways to take care of yourself. It stops learning how to communicate as much. And then what happens is that loneliness just compounds. So if you're set in a situation where you're locked behind bars for so many hours of the day, or maybe the whole day, maybe or maybe not, there's somebody else in that cell with you. How do you get those needs met? We are humans first, no matter what we've did in the past, no matter what we're going to do in the future. Our human need is to be around other humans, or we would not be this kind of a person, we would not be a human. And so how can we address that? Because that is so powerful what you said. And to think that there are people willing to take that risk to be by those people that they love so much, that they care about, that they know are not being treated well, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, I was just thinking now too, and I'm like, if I was in prison, when you said numbers, I'm like, my numbers would have glitter in it. It would be pink. Like, excuse me, I'm gonna learn to sew today. I'm gonna sew pink stars in it and heart. I'd be like, CJ, you're just a number. I'm like, to you, I am. I got a number and a heart. Hello, like that would be me. There would be glitter everywhere. They're like, okay, get out of her prison. It's just too much arrow pink. That would be what's gonna happen. I can't help myself. Listen, I like to customize everything. And I used to hide that difference of me, but I just started when I grew up and I'm like, I don't give a middle finger. I don't care you don't like me. That's me. That's just how I'm going to live my life. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm actually helping people. And I think that's the problem in our community. We judge people by the way you look first, not the
Absolutely.
content. And brain atrophy, I was just thinking about what you're saying about loneliness. So when you don't use it, just like when you are bedridden. I've been bedridden when I was pregnant. I couldn't get up. I almost lost my first child. Actually, I had placenta previa. So I was bleeding like at 6 months, and my doctor's like, for the next 3 months, you can only get up 15 minutes a day. I'm like, have you met me? Do you know how stubborn I am? No. But I was like oompa loompa. I was big, and I had some issues with my heart and everything with my baby. And I went from 90 pounds to 150 pounds. It was pretty, and I was like, oh my gosh, have to stop eating steak. I couldn't help. She wanted meat, I guess. I don't know what happened. And then I went back to 90 pounds for a long time until I start taking my migraine pills for the last 7 years, and I gained weight again. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to care anymore. Because at the end of the day, like you said, we are humans. We want to belong. Loneliness is like, that's why I always give people homework, and because an idle mind, it's the devil's playground. if you think about it. If you're just not there and you're always going to end, especially if you have depression and anxiety issues, like most people like me, I have to be busy because it will go downhill quick, right? Loli says prison should be places of repentance and rebuilding, not punishment and shame. Yes, yes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's just so crazy. So I can't believe we're already ending. So
It's
can you? I know. Can you tell me where they can find you and what else did you want from our listeners? And
yeah.
this actually goes back to global community, not just LinkedIn, everywhere in the world. We have
Yes.
1.2 million downloads a month. So what would you give them a message?
My biggest message is please be nice humans, treat other people with respect, and you are going to see a lot of change. We need people to care about people again instead of being fearful, instead of running away. I'm all about learning about other communities and cultures and being as diverse and as inclusive as you can get, because not only do you learn more things, other people learn about you, and that's how we get to be a better world. There are way too many people that judge people because either, like you said, their skin color or how they dress, or if they worship at a certain place or don't worship at all. But also people judge people based on paper. So depending on what's written about you, what is out there in public, whether it's for jail or a prison reason or something in a job application, don't judge people until you know them. Don't judge them on their outside. Don't judge them on their paper, and the world can get it to be a much better place. You can find me. I'm super active on LinkedIn. That's my preference, of course. I also do have a website for my travel business, which again, you were talking about helping women. That's definitely to help women. That's called Tripping with Jax. And then my reentry consultation business, homereentryservices.com. That website is still a little under construction, but you can still find me through LinkedIn. You can go to the page. I'll be having a LinkedIn page up on that real soon, too. So lots of ways to reach out. I would love to partner with people. Even though I said I'm going to be working here in the United States, there are prison systems that are better and worse all over this globe. And learning from others is huge to me. So please, I would love to hear what's going good and not good in your communities. Feel free to reach out. I love to collaborate. I would love to be able to see how can we make humans realize their potential and their value so they don't think this is the life they have to go back to or that their family member has to go back to. So I'd love to keep talking about this for like hours and hours. This is so important and it's so impactful because almost every one of us guys has somebody we know or love that is either in jail or prison. They've been there or they may go there in the future, or it could be us. So how can we make these systems way better, make people realize that there are resources out there and there are other opportunities because they deserve to have great lives. And we need to make that change ourselves. We need to welcome more humans. So I'm going to end there unless you have any other questions for me, Doc.
Nope, that's it. We are definitely cut short on airtime in terms of the TV. But thank you guys so much. Damien was here. Thank you, Damien, for coming in. Dr. New, Dr. Dreyer, my dear Susanna's sister here, Ollie, Melissa. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you. We love you guys so much. Jackie, wait for me in the room, and I will be right there. Guys, Jackie's information is right there. For those of you who are team replay, thank you guys so much. And I will see you next Thursday. Don't forget your 60 seconds video. All right?